Even though nowadays we have such a variety of games, a lot of the attention is focused on the newest playground, the virtual reality. We can blame that on its addictiveness and how good it became in imitating reality or modifying it with different rules. This causes people to see computer games as something different from the status quo, and they're partially right. Naturally, here and there comes the question, how is this actually affecting us? Because it must be. The whirlpool of scientific and empirical data on this matter may be somewhat confusing for most of us, but I can't see no other way than digging in. So, some find reasons to believe that computer games have negative impact on society, while others see a useful tool or just love to play. If playing helps animals to develop their brain, could our computer games affect its development somehow? From an empirical point of view, I think people who play regularly will agree that some computer games require developing specific skills or flexible and creative thinking in order to finish the presented tasks. That does not include checking the solutions on the internet, because that's considered cheating. Also, this type of games often requires from players to think and do stuff under moderate pressure and eventually become used to it. Now I know that they rely on the cognitive abilities of our brains. Cognition is the mental action or process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the senses. It encompasses processes such as knowledge, attention, memory and working memory, judgment and evaluation, reasoning and computation, problem-solving and decision-making, comprehension and production of language. Human cognition is conscious and unconscious, concrete or abstract, as well as intuitive, like knowledge of language, and conceptual, like a model of language. Cognitive processes use existing knowledge and generate new knowledge. In a sense, cognition is what makes up our intelligence and control over our emotions in the variety of situations that we experience through our lives. The important questions here are games capable of helping in developing cognitive abilities, and are there commercial computer games any good at it? The short answer is technically yes. Where the resulting products are marked by the absence of the role of struggle, they lack cohesion between game and cognitive task, and are not true games. If the only thing a game demands from you is to press a button in order to pass an obstacle, and there is no mental activity beforehand, obviously it won't bring any cognitive benefits. I can definitely recall a good amount of commercial games that made me break some sweat, and it won't be hard for any of us to find them, but let's dig out more on how this works. Even though this is still somehow a disputed topic, the data we have until now shows that action-oriented or strategic in nature games can improve overall cognitive abilities. These are the games that require maintenance of information and switching between multiple information and action sources, like tracking few moving objects simultaneously while maintaining an eye on health or stamina and planning your next moves. Studies show that the improvement effect is moderate for adults and even stronger on young adults, which is normal, but we have to take in consideration that the learning abilities depend heavily on personality and other factors like duration and number of sessions. While mining for information, I stumbled upon a very nice example of how computer games help in building up cognition. Dr. Lotfi Merbet and his team worked with a group of blind kids and a Zoom-like game modified for people who can use only their hearing sense for navigation. They made 3 groups. One paired with an orientation mobility instructor that helped the kids navigate through the virtual map of an existing university building without any gaming involved. A group that played the game on their own, collecting diamonds hidden in a maze while avoiding monsters and racing time, all that on this very same map. And lastly, a control group playing the game, but the map had nothing to do with the place later used in the study. At some point they took the kids into the real building and gave them navigation tasks. Gamers and direct navigator groups scored almost the same results when they had to move around the building. The control group obviously didn't do well because they were missing the inner context. What was interesting is that when the kids were put at a certain place and were told that they should find the quickest way out, the gamers were up to the task, while the direct navigation group were only able to trace their way back. Another interesting fact is that participants applied the same strategies they used for the real world, like shorelining. This means they oriented by exploiting a natural line like wall or grass line. At the end, the better they played the game, the better they scored in the real world. The test shows how learning through a game not only had a direct effect in real-world situation, but it also gave better results when compared with a traditionally taught group. Why is this happening? Well, gamers learn through exploring by themselves, as opposed to the group that received only navigation help through a tutor. The gamers had time pressure and other obstacles pushing them to get better, while the other group relied mainly on structured knowledge. The specific elements of the play allowed cognitive flexibility to build up in the gamer group, making it perform better in certain circumstances. This experiment also reminded me of something. In a way, this game is a simulation. The kids oriented in an environment that imitates the interior of a realistic building, but tweaked with a goal system and obstacles. Now, I don't know how many of you have ever thought about simulation games, but they're being used a lot for training purposes, and it all makes sense. As we know, close and ranged fight trainings, live combat simulations, and sometimes tactical shooter games are well adopted by some military today. The America's Army platform, for example, is used for training and recruiting purposes by the US, and they are currently looking at the developing VR systems as well. Simulations are basically everywhere. If you try to Google flight training simulators, you will see that there are many softwares developed for that purpose only. The financial world has its softwares, and even surgeons use the advantages of not losing a patient while still learning by using a computer simulation. The virtual world gives you the opportunity to make mistakes, try again in a very short period of time, with very fast feedback. The process of learning through trial and error can be greatly enhanced if people receive guidance or search for more data by themselves, as seen in some studies. All this doesn't mean that if you play military simulation shooters on Steam, you'll become good at shooting real guns, or you'll become some genius military tactician. Neither you'll become a real pilot by flying on realistic mode in War Thunder. It doesn't even mean that if you play games that improve cognition all day long, you'll become really smart, reactive and aware of your surroundings. It's all just a mental exercise that adds up on the top of everything else you do with your time, and as for now, time has proven to be the resource that we lack the most. Remember to play smart.